Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Band of Runners podcast, Season 3. We are back. Myself, Rob Cowlin, and my co-host, Superman, Simon Staples.
Evening, Rob. You all right?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. How you doing, buddy? I haven't spoken to you in forever.
Yeah, Jesus. No, I'm fine.
What? Not since this morning. Everything all right?
Yeah, nothing's changed, bud. I'm still here.
Nothing's changed.
Everything's okay.
100 plus days, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
yeah, but
101?
it does feel like we're sort of getting back to life now, coming out of hibernation.
It does.
Yeah.
I've got a little smile on my face. I think things are starting to happen again. I've seen some running events and life's going a little bit back to new normal's never been my thing. But going back to normal, mate.
Yeah,
what do you think about that?
I don't like the phrase new normal.
Nobody likes it, so let's move on from it. It's not a thing.
Look,
we're going back to normal, son.
We are. So how has it been for you the last couple of weeks? Obviously, I haven't been around for a while, but it was getting a bit silly, wasn't it? With there's just not much to talk about, was there? But there's been some sort of stuff. I mean, we both did, for example, the Centurion One community, which is a virtual.
Yeah.
You could choose a 5K, 10K, half, full, 50K, 100 miler. You could enter any of those, couldn't you? So quite a few,
and a 50 miler as well. Yeah,
quite a few people did it.
Yeah, no, tons of people, and obviously the Centurion group, we had James on back end of last year, and it's just a brilliant little placeholder, I think, ahead of hopefully, fingers crossed, some races going ahead quite soon in that area. But it was just great, just with the crew, whether it's ultras or any of those distances you said, just to be getting on board and doing that. And I know with yourself and some of the other, I think the running family, just getting over whether we're doing little video chats with the running dad, John White, and Sarah Marshall, running mum, and yourself, running brother, and some other friends who popped by. I think we did a few runs together, or one run together, myself and awesome Dawson. It was just brilliant. It was a nice excuse to get out there and do some miles of any speed, which is what I love. And just the weather was brilliant too that week. I can remember it. It's about 3 weeks ago now. It's fantastic. It's not so great now, but that was a brilliant reason to just get out and just plough in some miles, and that'll all help us in the long run. So great motivation, and I love the event. I think myself, I've just got the medals for them. I did the 100 miler in a few days, the 50 miler, and then I added on the 50K just as a little extra challenge in a week, because that's the most, including the 10 in 10, that I've ever myself done in 7 days. And so, God, it must have been motivating, because I got out there off my arse and just did some stuff. How about you?
Well, James nailed it though, didn't he? Because I don't know if it was a bit of luck, but probably we know the guy, he researches the hell out of everything. But the lockdown was lifted, wasn't it? So you could run with another person, I think, couldn't you? Within 2 meters.
Yeah, and I think during that time it was and within that time it came in that as long as you're socially distanced, you could run with up to 5 other people. I never actually exploited that until very recently, which we'll come on to. But during that week, it was just I just got into the thing of actually it's quite nice. I had been doing a fair amount, I know you were too, of solo running just to tick over. But it really just pushed me that extra way, and I just loved that thing as a motivator. And I love, like I say, the Centurion group, and it just got me out there doing a bit more, actually pushing myself. Yeah. I mean, and I'd say that's probably the first time I pushed myself for a week.
The thing I'm struggling with, and I still am struggling with after 100 and whatever days, is we used to have aid stations, we used to have support, and I'm running.
Oh, the bane of my life.
Yeah, but I'm running around the country now, and there's nothing. There's petrol stations and post offices. And if they ain't open,
mate, I took you to the Danbury Cart, my friend.
Yeah,
isn't that the most legit place to buy a sandwich?
Yeah, so I came up to see you, didn't I, when we were allowed? And I mean, to be fair,
we had a little barbecue.
There are a few good things about the lockdown, I guess, in hindsight, and it has been running for me has changed big time.
Yeah. You aren't going to say that running with me or whatever we did. We hiked, didn't we? We hiked for the day.
Yeah.
But you're not going to say that's a highlight. Come on, don't pretend.
It's different, isn't it? It's not pounding. I don't know, pounding trail or whatever. Trying to.
It's not pounding anything, by the way, listeners.
No, trying to compete
like,
or whatever, and then it's just different. It's not. It's adjusting to know. For me, anyway, I know it's different for others, but it's. We were talking the other day, weren't we, about the events that are coming online now, and there's social distancing and there's staggered start times. For me, that's going to take a lot of adjustment because I like to either be chasing down something or having somebody breathe behind my neck, and I've got to be like, shit, I need to go fast now because otherwise he's going to take me, kind of thing. Where there's others,
I'll breathe down your neck anytime you want. But...
Where there's others are sort of like, well, it's just about it's an event. I know, it's an event. You'd call it an event. I'd call it a race, type thing. I guess.
I know. I also like the shuttle. I like, and this is what, like, back to like the very fundamentals of why we do lapped events. I like the looping. I like the going backwards and forwards. I like the rhythm of seeing people and knowing where I am, because even though I'm not very far up the field, I do like the idea that I'm keeping pace, because I people always ask, like, what do you do when you're doing a long distance running event? A lot of me is like the maths in my head. It's like, okay, how many times has Lee Rogers lapped me? How many times has Adam Holland lapped me?
Yeah.
Is he going to lap me again before I finish the race? No, I'm going to finish, and it sounds silly, but like, it's like I'm going to finish my 5th lap before Steve Edwards finishes marathon. And I'm sure a lot of other people think like this, and that is what we might lose when we're having some of the adjustment period we're going through. But I am really heartened to see that some people are going through, our race director friends going through massive loops and, fighting against some of not fighting with the government guidelines to just put something back on. And it's just nice to see the start of normality is coming back, and that is a good thing. And it's like that, it can only get better, like D. Ream once sang. I think that was years ago, wasn't it? I love that song though. But don't you think it's like that? This is nice because it's the start of our running life, and I know it's a little bit of some people's lives, but everyone who listens to this, me and you, that's a big part of our lives.
Yeah,
I want it back.
Yeah,
I want it back, man.
I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of change.
There's going to be a lot
of change. I reckon there's going to be a lot of change with it.
We'll have to see how things change in the next few months, but it's at least given me a little bit of hope that some of the things I've signed up to down the track, maybe at the end of this year, maybe at the start of next year, but I do believe, particularly in some of the ultra arenas, I'm not going to speculate, but some of those things will happen. It gives me a little bit of focus to make me start being accountable.
I'm quite worried they are going to happen, Rob. I'm quite worried they are going to happen, and we find out about our Grand Slam
you and me both,
next week, so... Oh my God!
And that's why we started this, isn't it? The Grand Slam. But we'll find out about it. We'll talk to James and the crew, and then we'll move on from it. But we're all tough. We all love running. A lot of us are still running. I think what I've seen actually in the last 2 weeks, ironically, when I've had my bad back because I fell off a coffee table. Let's not talk about it. But I've actually found.
What are you doing? Dancing or what?
I think. You wish. No. No, I was just sitting on the coffee table and the leg collapsed. It was a cheap IKEA jobby, wasn't it?
Right.
And I just I smashed my coccyx right up, whatever that is, and my back's all swollen. But it's like I'm back on Milton, just training myself, doing some little climbs. It's but the irony is that basically I think everyone else, even some of the people I've been chatting to, because we've all been in contact with a lot of our friends and family in the running community, who have actually started to like reawaken. I think their hope is back that they can go do what they love, and that's really brilliant to see. Like, they're still finishing some of their virtual challenges, but they're starting to see real races, as we call them, inverted commas. Yeah, they're coming back, and it's a bit different. It's going to be different, but I think we're going to be back doing what we love sooner than we think.
All right. News. You went and pushed the button on face masks, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Speaking of the new normal, mainly just because I think actually it's not something to do mostly while you're running, but a lot of the government advice and a lot of the health advice is actually whenever you're doing stuff before and after a running event, including some of the stuff we just talked about. It's that you should wear a face mask, and why not get some in? And, it's for my personal use too. Just have something for public transport to get to some of the events, because that's mandatory in the UK. And we've got a Band of Runners themed one, and Phoenix are doing some too. So I'm not going to plug it. It's just like, it's one of those things. It's like, why can't we get those prepared and out there? And it's just like, it's another bit of merch. And, people are asking for baby grows and mankini.
You doing those? You going to do those?
Sorted.
Are we getting baby grows
give
in?
it time.
Yeah.
As long as I've got the demand there, and Si, you're willing to model some of this stuff, then yeah, we're game, aren't we? So we'll discuss that offline, mate.
Maybe. All right. Oh, you gave me
Maybe.
a it's not a painting, it's a drawing over
Yeah,
lockdown
you
as well,
lucky
didn't
boy.
you? Oh, no, I'm very lucky.
You're a lucky boy, aren't you?
Yeah, I love
You're
it.
spoiled, actually. You're spoiled.
So
What do you get? Go on, tell
yeah,
everyone.
this from Lisa Smith, isn't it? So
Yeah, Lisa. Yeah.
Lisa's on the circuit. She's in the group. If you ever want her to commission anything, so they're brilliant. I remember when she did a few samples from a run along the. Oh yeah, it was along the way in Byfleet. What, 2 years ago? I wanted one, but never.
It was
got
the
one.
Byfleet Canal. Yeah.
Yeah, never got one. And then we had a run which we'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, you presented me with an original Lisa Smith drawing, didn't you? It's crayon, isn't it?
Yeah, it's I don't really know.
I think it's crayon. Anyway, so it's on the two of us. It's got a lovely little soppy quote.
Yeah,
in
pastel pencils and stuff. And it's like a soppy quote. Go on, what's the quote? Go on.
Says, "A friend will help you up if someone knocks you down. A best friend says, stay down. I got this." I like that.
That's been our thing throughout these 100+ days, my man.
Yeah, it's Thelma Louise, isn't it? Something like that. I don't know.
It's from Thelma and Louise, yeah,
Is it?
and
Yeah.
those tough bitches, and it just really resonated. I know it's become a whole thing, and I thought that picture, obviously your first sub-3 marathon, I thought what better to do that. It's one of the only two pictures where we're both smiling. One of us doesn't look like we're really angry with the other one.
Yeah.
I thought let's get that commissioned. Lisa's very talented, and yeah, anyone who wants a picture from Lisa, we'll obviously link her in some of the comments for this if you want to get her services, because she's a very talented young lady. And I just thought it was a nice thing to do. And mate, that's your early birthday present.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you. But so you gave that to me. We met up with a few other guys. Last week
when we also did that, yeah. So yeah, it was it's about
2 weeks.
About 2 weeks ago now. Obviously, when I gave you the little gift, and then it was at the start of what we were doing. Obviously, after Mark Thornberry passed away, which I think was now it's almost 3 weeks ago on the Sunday, and yeah, so it's 2 weeks ago we went out to do the Head Torch Marathon, and that was one of the Canary Trail events routes that Mark actually helped to design. And I thought it was just brilliant because I hadn't been able to turn up one time, and I felt bad about it. I got called a cock and things for not going.
No. Yeah. So the last words Mark ever said to me was, "Tell Rob he's a cock." Nice.
The last words he ever said to me were, "Thank you for raising all that money for my charity." But I love the man. So yeah, and I raised the money for his charity. So get off your ass and do something, Simo.
All right.
And
hang on, didn't
we
we run on a beach in Thailand or something and do a raffle and all that?
We didn't do anything in Thailand. You did stuff in Thailand. I probably had to watch, but yeah. Did you raise money for it?
Yeah, of course we did. We had a raffle and everything.
Oh yeah. No, I remember now. Yeah,
there
people went out to dinner with
us. Take that back.
People went out to dinner with us.
Yeah.
All right. Let's say we'll both do more for Mark, and so will our guest, which we'll come on to. But that day was just brilliant, just because that was the first thing that hadn't been just me and one other. So obviously I said I did something with you and Awesome Dawson, and then obviously we had running mum and dad there, Sarah Marshall, John White, and in our little group, which we're allowed to do, and we just had the best day. I mean, I hadn't done that route, but it was like a guided run for me with my friends, and it was brilliant. You got me a little sandwich from the petrol station, which I dropped in the mud.
Yeah.
That was funny. I literally ate a sandwich full of leaves and mud. But I broke my walking stick.
Broke your Gandalf stick, didn't you? Your Gandalf stick.
I broke my hydro vest, so running dad had to fix it for me. It was absolutely pathetic. But I remember crawling up one of those hills just thinking, I'm scared of heights. Why am I here? But that is a good route, and I think we should publish that out, the GPX. We'll get John or somebody to do it, just to share it, because that is a hell of a route. If you're ever in Surrey, guys, God, that is an absolute stinger.
Yeah, it's good, isn't
it? Because I think I had miles in my legs. I had fitness in my legs. But at times on that, I was struggling. That wasn't easy.
I know.
Mainly because I was running with people that are better than me. But yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah. It was funny. You threw your toys out the pram almost, didn't you? what, 20, 25 miles, something like that?
Yeah, I can remember
25.
you was trying to wind me up.
Yeah,
Weren't
loved
you?
it.
You
Loved
weren't
it.
helping. You're just like, oh, you're singing little songs like little footy chants, even though you literally don't like football. Oh,
Yeah.
Robbie's having a wobble. Robbie's having a wobble. That's not a chant, but basically something like that. And well, if I hadn't had to socially distance, I would have like taken your cap off and thrown it into the vineyards, mate. So
Right, Rob.
good times though,
Yeah.
great times.
Tell us who we got on then to launch this series. Who we got on?
So tonight we've got a hell of a man, like a guy that I very rarely share miles with for reasons that will become obvious, but he's been a long time on the circuit, although he still looks like he's younger than me. And his name's Paul Mason, the Masonator. He's an ultra runner, a freaking instigator, and he's the Masonator. He's Paul Mason. He's done many ultras, many marathons. We'll come on to it, but here he is, the man.
Let's wheel him out, Paul Mason.
Wheel him out.
Oh.
Masonator. How are you,
doing,
Paul?
gents?
How you doing? That's his name,
Yeah.
Si.
Oh, okay.
How we doing?
He's the Masonator. How's things, Paul? You all right?
Very good, thank you. You?
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it? We haven't all seen each other, but things are starting to look up, aren't they?
They are indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
Hopefully, be seeing more of all each other soon. So, so we've talked a little bit about you, Paul, before you've come on, but here to talk to us about one of your big projects coming up. But it'd be nice just to get a little bit of background on you, really. So, could you just tell like all the listeners who don't know you, and a lot of them will, but a little bit about yourself and your running and why you got into it in the first place?
Yeah, certainly. So I always ran as a kid, primarily because I played quite a bit of football when I was younger, and I was always pretty unfit. So running was just kind of helped me get fit. And then I think I did my first half marathon when I was about 18. I was going to actually do it as a relay, and then thought, nah, sod that, I'll do it as a single race, and thought, oh, okay, I can run. And then I guess like anybody else, I was watching the London Marathon as a young kid with my dad. And I said to him one day, I'm going to do the marathon. He kind of laughed at me. I said, you're never going to do it.
We've all been there.
Yep.
And so that was in 1981, I think was the first one, wasn't it? So I watched that, and I kept saying, when I'm old enough, I'll do it. So I think it was 93 was my first marathon. That was the
St Albans. Yeah.
St Albans, yeah. It was a little rough. I met Steve Edwards on the start line. I saw him in his
Of
100
course.
marathon club.
Of course
I
he's
met the man himself, and I looked at his vest and went, "What's the 100 marathon
the man
club?"
inside the machine.
Yeah, the Godfather, and he kind of said a few words, a bit like the Terminator it was, and I just sort of backed off and went, oh, "Okay, that's clearly not what I'm ever going to do." So yeah, I got my first one done totally naively, hadn't really trained for it.
It's a good time. It's a good time for being naive. 3:37.
Yeah, I was all right. I was in a rush. I had somewhere to be that day, so
Yeah, Paul, you're more in this one's camp than mine. You're saying you did nothing. I bet it was more than 2 times around the footy pitch, wasn't it?
I think it might have been 3 or 4 times around the football pitch. Just sorry to shed you there, Rob,
Mate,
but
you're a proper try hard there. What's your team, by the way? You said you played a lot of football. What's the team?
Yeah, I wasn't not bad footballer in my younger days, but I was just never fit enough. But if I told you a secret, I actually did go out drinking the night before that first marathon, so I was actually slightly over.
You're back in my good books, Paul. All right.
Right, so Paul, that was December '93, and then you hit London in the April of '94.
I did. I did take that more seriously. I think I did actually train for that one ish. I didn't drink the night before.
So you must have known. I don't know how it worked back in '94. Did you just walk in and pay your money and get in?
Oh yeah, there was about a millionth of less people in the ballot in those days.
Yeah.
You just put your name and you were in. It was no problem. I think there was probably about 10,000 ran it that year.
So did
people
you,
like me and Si were still at school licking windows, weren't we? So.
Yeah.
Did you know before you run that first one that you were in London?
Oh God, I can't remember. I ain't got that good a memory, Sam. I don't know. I think I probably did. I can't remember the process all those years ago because, let's be honest, it was the dark ages back in 18 something or other. But I don't know. I can't remember.
CRT
I really
monitors.
Can't remember. I don't know. I can't remember whether it was the same process. Certainly went through a ballot. I don't know how long we had to wait. But I just know I got in first time. There was no rejection in those days. You were just in. I think they were just desperate to get people on board in those days. So I just stood on the start line like a naive school kid. I'd said never again after the first one. That didn't last long, did it? So, yeah,
4 months. Well done.
Yeah, and it was all right. A good day actually. It was miserable weather. It was great. You know,
Oh,
London.
really? London's usually
Yeah.
unbearably hot. Maybe that's like a
Nah,
noughties thing, but
94 was wet and windy. I remember standing on Blackheath Common, freezing my, what's off, thinking, let's just get going. But it was weird because London didn't have anywhere near the size of crowds that we have these days, and a lot of Canary Wharf wasn't even built in those days. It was just like a ghost town.
yeah.
Very
That's
different
usually
race.
one of the best bits, isn't it? Having had the sort of luck to do it. I know Simon, you present company, you haven't done London Marathon, but that's one of the good bits where everyone's like got like little champagne and stuff that sort of wave at you, and sometimes you're lucky you can grab one as you're going through. It's not the best idea. But it's good
Those
fun.
days it was one man and his dog standing there and a couple of builders, I think, pretty much. But, yeah.
And then tell us, Paul. I'm going to skip a few.
Yeah.
But pretty soon after that, right? You well, it's the following year. You go out and do the Comrades.
Yeah, it wasn't the most sensible thing. I'd done about 5 marathons, so I clearly thought I was some sort of expert.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you've done 5, you are the master.
I've done. I mean, that in those days, 5 was like you were top of the cream, basically. Not. So no, it's a lot. It's going back to those days. I was going through a bit of a shit time in life actually, and I was having a bit of a confidence crisis. And I remember it well. I'd moved away from a job and things weren't great, and I remember reading about it in one of the Runners World magazines and thought, well, that sounds really great, you know, Comrades, South Africa, got great heritage. They called it the down run. I thought, oh, that'll be easy, running downhill, that'll be wicked.
Yeah.
So I naively signed up and off I went, and it was fantastic. It is probably one of my favourite races. I've been lucky to do it 3 times now.
And did you do the virtual recently, Paul?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I should have done. I was thinking about it. I did the Centurion, obviously, one event, but I didn't do the Comrades one. I wanted to, but it never manifested itself, unfortunately. But
I mean, Comrades just seems like one of those things, but it puzzles me. Like you having a crisis of confidence, and there's like, just go and do this really tough ultra marathon.
Yeah.
See you later.
Needed something. I needed a test. You know, sometimes you just want a test, and it just excited me. I love travelling, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to combine the travel. We're doing a race, and I'm just going to see what it's like to run further than a marathon.
People like you, Paul, if I can make the assumption, look for a challenge when their confidence is low to prove that they've still got it, right? Rather than do something easy to build themselves up. Yeah. Is that fair?
Yeah, potentially. But you know, it just had such a good write up, you know. And I talked to a few of the guys right near where I lived, the running club where I was at the time, had done it, and they said, look, just go and do it. You're going to love it. And I think I was 23 at the time. Is that right? About 23, 24ish. It was good. I think it was 10 people from Great Britain went out and did it that year. Clearly, there's a lot more do it now.
Yeah.
And I think I was about the second fastest. I think everybody thought I was going to be last. There was this young lad, but they had totally basically said, oh, he's a young lad, he's not going to finish. And I think I came in second, but I did.
Bloody hell.
I did claps at the finish line. That was quite amusing. Got trotted off to the first aid tent. Had a nice tetanus jab in my arm, and I woke up about an hour later, and everything was spinning. So that was quite an experience.
Don't do things by halves, do we, Mason?
Well, I have my claim to fame, if I'm honest, because I actually met Nelson Della at the finish.
Awesome.
And what's even more of a bit of a story, which is a genuine story, is that he was with his bodyguards at the end. I don't quite know why he was standing there, because he'd been waiting there quite a while. And he shook my hand, which was obviously a privilege, you know. And he asked me how my queen was, and I said, well, yeah, I think she's okay.
Right, I was round for tea the other night.
Yeah, and then I subsequently puked up all over his feet. So that's my claim to fame.
Wow.
I claim to fame is I puked up over Nelson Ballin's feet, and I survived.
Nice.
I then collapsed and got taken away by his bodyguards.
I think I did that to a bouncer in Newcastle once. I think surviving was probably slightly more impressive, but Nelson's a good guy, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? He was wearing some lovely sandals until I projected vomit all over them. So that's my claim to fame, but it's not my best moment in life. It's just one you kind of go, ugh. But yeah, so
I'm sure he appreciated you'd been through something that day. So
yeah, I hope so. I didn't get arrested or shot or taken away. I was placed kindly by bodyguards. You know?
Wow.
So I mean,
yeah,
Paul. Sorry. So yeah, back when we started this, people give us their spreadsheets. You've given us yours. So obviously you hit the 100 club. You're around 220 odd now, aren't you? 220 marathons or ultras.
Yeah.
But your sheets really spread out, isn't it? You didn't go mental, or you didn't get the bug or whatever until 2014.
Yeah,
Something
I
like
didn't
that.
see the dark side till about then. I think I was averaging about one a year for about 10 years, if I remember rightly.
So what happened?
Clearly, I got in with the wrong crowd.
Classic.
There was all these nutcases that kept running every weekend, and I just got hooked with everybody else, I suppose. And there was no plan to run the 100, and that happened. And then you go to 200, don't you? And that was never planned either.
Yeah, but you know
And
you're
I,
part of the problem now, hey Paul. So,
yeah, well, of course, all these blooming RDs now are on the scene. There was no RDs around in those days. Now they're everywhere. So it's a bit like, it's out there. Let's use it. So, but no, it's good. It's been fun. The running family are a good bunch, aren't they? It's some great people, and
and the numbers, like what keeps you coming back? I know you've started to do some bigger, like longer, tougher events, I guess, to challenge yourself. But what keeps you coming back to the marathon or like the circuit events? Is it a social thing? Is it for your head? Or what is it?
It's the people you meet. I mean, it's a bubble, isn't it? They're like-minded people, really humble people, but they're ordinary people, but doing extraordinary things. And you just look around and go, when you go back to work and you tell people what you've done at work, they look at you a bit blankly, don't they? And go, you're crazy. But
they sort of appreciate it the first couple of weeks. You tell them, and you keep telling them. Then they're like, whatever, mate.
Well, so the thing is, it's polite to wait for people to ask. So I actually try and hide it because I just don't think it's, we can chat about this. This is why I love talking to you guys. We can talk about this forever. But no one at work wants to hear about it. They want to hear about my dog or what my little kid's done or something, don't they? So little Zoe's done her first colouring book. It's like, I ran 26 miles again. Boring.
Kind of roll their eyes at you.
Yeah, you're broken. Did you go back to work, Paul? You've been doing a lot of ultras recently, haven't you? Can we move on? Can we move on to that now? Can we move on to your massive project that's coming
I think,
up?
like you've in the last few years, Paul, you've definitely, like Si says, you've ramped up. I think you've definitely started. You can see in the spreadsheet the way the columns are. It's like, marathons, road marathons, trail marathons, and then it's an ultras column, and that ultra number has really started to go up. But what I think is unique with you, Paul, and obviously we speak to a lot of very accomplished runners, but I'll straighten my tie while I say that. Which I'm not wearing, and but you really have done some quite long distances, and you've what's rare is, and I can't even think about it, you've gone beyond 100 miles a few times. So what made you go ultra before we get onto your big upcoming thing?
What, the big ones?
Yeah, what made you go for that?
Okay, let's start from your first 100 miler, Paul, which was
first 100 miler, if I remember right. I think it was TP on it, TP 100. There was me naively thinking flat, that'll be easy, and then everyone was telling me no, Paul, it's one of the tough ones. But the Centurion group, you guys know them well. They're a great bunch, and we're a better place to start. And I had a good day actually at the office. It was a rare one. It was you guys all know the race. It's one of those you start off and it's usually quite warm, and then you get into the night section, it's absolutely freezing.
Well, I know 30 miles in daytime of it, but that's where my experience ended. But carry on, I want to hear about it.
Yeah, no, TP was good. I had a good day at the office, and then I was humbled, and I went and did. You guys all know this one, the Samphire 100, the first year they did it. Yeah. So you guys, I think, had naff weather. I had really hot weather, and I went off like a complete idiot, feeling really confident. Got to 50 miles, and then just regretted it because I got sunstroke, and by about 70 miles, I was throwing my insides up all over Samphire Ho. I think at about 75 miles, I almost collapsed, and one guy sort of walked me back to the aid station. I sat down. I think I had half an hour's sleep.
God, you're worse than this one.
Yeah, awful
Come
mess.
on, Paul, you're tough.
No, I had a bad. Well, I say bad day. It wasn't one of my brightest moments, but I got that
still a sub 24 sunshine. Still a sub 24.
Yeah, sub 24'd it, but it wasn't pretty. And then where did I go from there? I think I went and did I do Daytona after that? I think I did Daytona, which was a point to point, and that was good. That was a fantastic run. I think that's my PB still.
What? 20 hours 57.
Yeah, that's my PB at the moment, and that was a good run. I had a good day at the office. No crewing allowed. Well, I'd say crewing was allowed, but I was on my own. Caroline was back at the hotel, so I just had to look after myself, point to point.
Lazy.
They lost a couple of my drop bags, which didn't go down well either for me. But hey ho, we rose above those challenges.
Did they have your milkshakes in? I know you like your milkshakes.
Do you know what? Funny, one did have my milkshake in and a spare pair of socks when I got to the beach.
Hell no.
7 miles on a beach with sandy feet. I thought, I'll put a pair of socks in there.
Milkshake? Bloody hell.
Yeah, like a bit of milkshake. So Daytona was good, and then I thought, because I'd grown up with the Grand Union as a kid, because I lived next to the Grand Union Canal, I'd walked it, fished it, and I'd kind of run it. I'd known the Grand Union race for years and never really had the courage to do it, and thought, oh, go on, I'll have a go. I remember standing on the start line thinking, oh my God, what am I doing here? I should not be here. I'm not worthy.
Just for the people that don't know, Paul, Grand Union Canal, 145 miler, Birmingham to Little Venice in London, isn't it? Yeah,
that's the one. Yeah, 145 miles down the Grand Union Canal. Beautiful, beautiful route. Fantastic route. I love the route.
How long did you get to do it, Paul? Is it 48 hours you have?
No, 45
yeah. Hours. Okay. Yeah.
And I stood on the start line and thought, I'm going to come last here. I just shouldn't be here. You know, when you're standing around people and you just think, God, they just look so good, and they were like gnarly ultra runners. I just thought, oh, sod it, I'm just going to do my best. And I remember getting to halfway, and I said to the chap, where am I? He said, I think you're about 70th place. I thought, oh, that's not bad. I'm about halfway down the list. And I got to 120, and I said to the guy, where am I? And he said, oh, I think you're in 14th place. And I'm like, Christ, okay. So I'd clearly overtaken a few people on the way. But, yeah, it was...
Couldn't remember it, obviously, just in the days.
Yeah, it was a good day at the office, you know, good crew, perfect condition. I loved it. I had a great night session, and I loved every minute of that race.
That race is pretty. You can enter it. There's no qualification criteria at all, isn't it? It's like 30 or 40 quid if you're not crewed.
You just have to be good looking, Simon. So I was obviously clearly straight at the front looking. No,
Paul's got some of the best lycra going. You've got to see like how fetch some of that stuff is. I'm always complimenting on his little like calf sleeves or whatever they are. Love it. Paul, you need your own range, mate. You need sponsorship.
Wow. Yeah,
was this the race, by the way? I've heard some infamous stories about you and shoes. Was this the race where you couldn't put your shoes back on?
I think that was where I got told off because I wanted to take my shoes off.
Oh, that was it. Yeah. Mrs. H, sorry.
Yeah, I was out with Mrs. H. We were about 100 and I don't know where, we were about 118 miles, and I remember saying, well, when we get to the 120 mile, I've got to take my shoes off. So we got to the checkpoint. Caroline's there, the boss, and Mrs. H said, Paul wants to take his shoes off. Told him he's okay, can do it, and I think she got barked at. He's not taking his shoes off. He won't get them back on. So
yeah, the
I
boss
didn't take my shoes off.
Wow.
And I'm glad I didn't, because the state of my feet by the end of that race was shocking. So it was probably best I kept my shoes on.
She knows best, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does know best. And
do you use anything, Paul? Do you use anything on your feet out of interest?
I tape them. Yeah, I do tape them. Yeah. And I talc them. You know, talc the socks. You know, and just stuff. I do wear the Injinji socks, which I found a nice kind of weight of Injinji sock now, because I struggle with them to start with. I got really bad blisters.
Go for the mid-range. Which one do you go for?
Yeah,
the trail crew ones are the best, aren't they?
Yeah, the kind of mid-thickness. Yeah, really nice.
Listen to us sound like we know what we're talking about nowadays.
Yeah. But the Injinji USA ones, I call them. They're my USA Stars and Stripes, but they're brilliant. And I just take my feet up, my heels especially.
Yeah, I've never
taped my feet ever. Or I've used Foot Glide, whatever that is. Yeah. I think it's basically Body Glide in a different packet, isn't it? But it's basically like putting Vaseline on your feet. It's just, I think we all get into our little rituals and then we do it. Yeah. But I've never thought tape my feet, because just the toe socks, which we're sort of accidentally plugging here, even though we're definitely not sponsored by them. If they're listening, be happy to be, because I wear them all the time, like literally every day. But I actually don't care what weight they are or what happens with my feet. I just want the most brightly coloured ones. And I found some with palm trees on once. It's like I'm just trying to find them again now.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's an aside.
So that was done, and then I was foolish enough to sign up for Thames Ring 250, which was another me being a bit kind of I'll get that.
Again, Paul. Before you start triggering off about that, tell the people that don't know what the hell is Thames Ring 250.
Yeah, how is the Thames in a ring? Because the Thames is a straight line, isn't it? Like on EastEnders.
Well, technically, yeah. I mean, it starts kind of, I'd say Abingdon. It's Goring on Thames, which is well known for the Centurion kind of races, but it's not a Centurion race. But it starts there, and you go down the Thames, heading towards London, all the way down past Reading, through all the way in through past Rick's Bridge, the Blue Bridge, the infamous Blue Bridge, and then you get onto the Grand Union Canal down near Brentwood, all the way up the Grand Union Canal.
Brentwood or Brentford?
Brentford, yeah. Not Brentwood, sorry. And then you come off on the Oxford Canal, which is pretty shocking because it's all overgrown, it's horrible to run on. And you run all the way through the Oxford Canal, get back onto the Thames, and you could basically finish off where you started.
Sounds pretty simple. Sounds pretty simple.
Well, I mean,
the detail is 250 miles, Paul.
Well, it's 260 technically.
260 miles. I mean, are
But
you?
it's 250 on the thing.
You'll
What's the
have
support
4
like,
days
Paul?
on, yeah.
What are the aid stations and things like? It's a 4-day long event, but what's like the
Yeah.
support
So
like? How often do you get stuff?
Yeah, so basically it's a marathon, slightly over every checkpoint. The last checkpoint's about 18 miles from the finish, but a marathon each checkpoint, you can have no support, no crewing on the way. You can't be given anything en route apart from at the aid stations. The aid stations are pretty basic, but they're pretty good. Lindley, obviously, and Maxine do a pretty good job. One indoor aid station out of about 8 or 9. If the weather's poor, then it's pretty grim. We were lucky; we had some great sunny weather, but it's pretty basic. There's no airs and graces about it. A bit like the Grand Union, it's pretty low key, and you're out there a long time on your own. So I went a whole day without seeing any other runners on
Paul,
day
yeah,
three.
Does that
it
mean,
took
Paul,
you-
like when do you sleep? When do you get a nap or something? If you can only have
Well,
one aid station aside.
I didn't sleep for 3 days. I couldn't sleep. I was as you do. I was so caffeined up that by day 4, I got to the last checkpoint in a bit of a mess, and I just literally laid down and slept for about an hour and a half on the floor, on the grass. Woke up, had a pot noodle, had my feet drained of blisters, and then got going again.
So, Paul, this is just shy of 4 days. This takes, right?
Yep.
I mean, this is more mental, surely, than physical, or?
Yeah, I'd say it's 70% mental.
Right.
It'll be probably 25% strength and 5% fitness.
5% fitness.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
I like those odds.
If you're not mentally right,
Yeah.
don't turn up on the start line of Thames Ring 250, because a lot of people don't. I mean, when I finished it in 19, I think there was how many that finished? About 15 out of 50.
Yeah.
It's not a great success rate, is it?
But it's just mental. I mean, the 100's mental.
Yeah.
Then to do that again and then chuck on a 50. It's
pretty
4
great
impressive.
days. You get to experience some phonetical highs, some tremendously horrible lows.
I'm not sure if we've spoken to anyone on this who's done that distance yet.
No, we never have, and I'm curious, Paul, because I know you did it then, and I think you had a try before that, didn't you?
I had a go, yeah. I failed miserably.
Well, did you learn from that, and did it help you the second time you did it? And maybe tell us about that, because that's where I heard about your milk drink.
Yeah, 2017, I attempted to have a go at it. I'd gone on holiday with Caroline a week before to Tenerife, thought, a nice little rest. Flew back about 2 days before, and I picked a virus up, but didn't know I'd picked a virus up. Started the race, knew I wasn't feeling particularly good, but you just get on with it, don't you? Got to about 30 miles and then started projectile vomiting everywhere and thought, that's a bit unusual at 30 miles, but, we'll keep going. Puked up about 4 times in about 5 minutes, then kept falling over. Realised something really wasn't right, stopped taking fluids, stopped taking food on. I then pushed myself to get to checkpoint 2, where I knew there was a milkshake, and I knew if I could get a milkshake inside me, I'd be good. But unfortunately, I pushed so hard that I got to the checkpoint and then collapsed. And then that's all I remember. And next thing I know, I woke up on the back of an ambulance. We're strapped in, basically.
Jeez.
And I then got told the story about 4 days. Well, at the end, I went back out on the course a couple of days later to say hello to the guys and just cheer them on. But at the end, the last day, Lindy kind of filled me in on the gaps and said that that 20 minutes that you couldn't remember was quite bizarre, because apparently I was wrestling him on the floor because he wouldn't let me up, and I'm fighting him on the floor. If those
I know Lindley. I wouldn't fight Lindley.
No, I wouldn't fight Lindley
not the
either.
same man.
No, I was strapped. But what fight was funny, when I woke up in the ambulance, I was strapped in with 3 straps, a bit like, in a white suit and chains. It was like, what's going on? So I wasn't impressed. I think I swore at him a few times as well, because he'd taken me out of the race by that stage, as apparently I'd stopped breathing and those sort of things. But just minor complications.
Yeah, as you say.
So what did I learn on that one? Probably don't go on holiday before Thames Ring 250. And don't push yourself too hard where you've collapsed and almost died. But
the holiday's for a treat after, Paul. That's the lesson here, mate.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Then you can sit by the pool.
But the worst thing was that they give you a hoodie. It's one of those races that you get a hoodie before you even start the race. It's not got finisher on it, but I wouldn't wear it. And it was a bright orange Thames Ring 2000. It's beautiful. But what I did is I left it in my wardrobe, and I made sure that every day when I opened my wardrobe door, that I would look at it. And that was my motivation, because I wouldn't wear it for 2 years, but I knew I wanted to wear it, and I'd only
little
wear
look
it.
and a snarl. And
250 miles for a hoodie.
Yeah. And then 2019, when I finished it, I didn't like the 2019 hoodie because it was like a purpley colour or like a reddy purple. I didn't like that, so I put the orange one.
I'll have that one.
Yeah, That's not bad. Apparently, next year's one's going to be, I don't know what colour next year. He did tell us actually, but anyway. But yeah, so I can wear my orange hoodie now with pride, even though I didn't finish that year because it hasn't got the finisher on it. I wear it.
I think we'll allow it, Paul. I think you've earned it, mate.
Yeah, fair play.
Thank you for that. That's
So,
it.
is that the hardest race you've ever done? I mean, you know it's the longest. Is it the hardest thing you've ever done?
I doubt. Yeah, no doubt. It was. I had. Yeah, I mean, I went deep into the pain cave. I had to dig very, very deep.
What's going through the mind? What is going through the mind?
Can you tell us about the pain cave, Paul? Because I love your pain cave. Tell us about it.
My pain cave. So, well, wait, let me break it down for you. So I have a very simple philosophy, which is CBA, and it doesn't stand for can't be asked either. It's an old Muhammad Ali saying, which is if you can conceive it and believe it, you can achieve it. And I break it down, and my running ethos, the values I live by. So if you think about conceiving it, and it's a very simple
I'm
philosophy.
pretty sure that's a R. Kelly, I Believe I Can Fly lyric as well.
Yeah,
but I'll let you have
it is actually, yeah. I set you set your bold goals, don't you? You set the goals that excite you and scare you. And I have a great saying, I think, it's set a goal so big you can't achieve it until you grow into the person that can. And it is about character building, mindset. Visualization for me, massive. I visualize my goals and I feel it, see it, smell it, taste it every day. And I see myself finishing it. And that's so important for me. I have to be able to visualize it. Mirror of accountability, you're stronger than your excuses for me. So that's another bit around the conceive it.
Yep, used that one the other day. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. So I'm relentless on your preparation and planning. You train hard. You look after yourself. And at my age, you have to look after your recovery. So that's pretty big. And I always say action before motivation. If you wait to be motivated, you're done for. Get out there and do it. Stop thinking about it. Stop overthinking.
Oh, I'm liking Paul Mason. Oh, I'm liking this. Yeah.
Sorry, I will get
other than the hard training, but yeah.
I will get to the pain cave in a second. What else does it come? It's about finding solutions to your challenges. That's obvious. And I like to be a student of running. I continue to learn. I've been doing it 30 years, and I'm still learning. I'm never going to be perfect, but I'll aim for not perfection, excellence, really, and that's where I'm at. I think believe it's about, how many people do you hear talk themselves down? They kill their dreams with limited beliefs. And for me, you don't kill your dreams. You talk yourself up. You have to talk yourself up. You have to see your potential. There's so much more inside us. And that's where the pain cave is going to come in a minute. Because every day I tell myself that you are good enough. And I know it sounds a bit corny, but I'm about don't tell yourself you can't. I tell myself I can do it and I will do it. And lastly, I guess it's find your why. If you can't find your why, then when it gets really tough and you're in that pain cave and it's a dark, dark place and your gremlins are talking to you and they are going on your insecurities, they're basically making you want to quit. You're in a lot of pain emotionally, physically. And for me, I'm very clear what that pain cave looks like. It's a dark, dark place, but I go there to spar now. I'm comfortable with it. Yeah.
Go to fight demons.
So I spar with the devil, and I always talk about look at the devil in the eye, and I mean that seriously. At Thames Ring, I looked the devil in the eye, and I said, "Bring it on, sunshine. I'll take you now." Because you've heard about the alter egos, and I know you guys joke about it, but the Masonator is my alter ego, and it's who I become when I'm out there running. Because Paul Mason is actually a pretty crap runner, in my opinion. I'm not good at running. I'm 6'2". I'm not built for running. I should be a basketball player, really. But when the Masonator comes out, it's real time. It's real serious shit. And I'm unstoppable in my mind. I have to be unstoppable, and nothing will get in my way. And you turn into this thing that, and it sounds a bit daft, but you become untouchable and unstoppable. And that's when I take the pain cave on and go, you know what? I don't care what you throw at me. I'm going to take you down. Get out of my way.
What about Paul? What about like cause and effect type thing? 'Cause that's how I see it sometimes. Like, I'm like, if I finish this, if I get this time or whatever, if I keep this position, if I win this race, then I'm going to get a reward for it type thing. Do you ever think that sort of thing? Or?
Well, yeah, I associate the mental anguish with quitting. I do not like quitting. And I think about when I'm going for a race and I know I'm struggling and I'm thinking about, shall I just hit the eject button and get out of this race and sit on that nice warm couch with a nice warm shower? I think about what will I feel like a week later, and I know I'm going to feel gutted. I'm going to feel angry with myself. I'm going to feel a real cop-out. So for me, it's about go that one extra mile, because that 1 mile will become 2 miles, 2 will become 3, and before you know it, you'll get through that bad patch and you'll fly again. So for me, associating anger, mental anguish with quitting is critical.
And your reasoning, your why, you say you have to have a why. Is that always the same? Is that always the same for you? That why?
No, different reasons. Grand Union was about my cousin. I'd lost my cousin 2 weeks before for cancer. Gail, she was a
Yeah.
real inspiration to me, a tough cookie, always supportive of my running, supported me, always pushed me. And she said, I know you'll finish Grand Union. And I basically ran past where my aunt used to live and where they used to live. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. And I said to Jules, who was crewing me at the time, so I just need to stop a minute. I just need to kind of take it all in a moment because I'm running past the house where my cousin lived, and I had a picture on a band around my wrist, and I got quite emotional. But that really G'd me on because I was struggling at the time, and suddenly I got a second wind, and you just dig in, and that's when your why becomes serious. And I just didn't stop after that. It was like, get your arse in gear, get this done, stop being a softie, pull your big boy pants up, and get it done. And that why was huge. Thames Ring again. I had a why. I could not face not completing that race. I did not want the sympathy vote of, well, you did so well, Paul. There. No, this was you're going to finish it, come rain or shine. You're going to get this done. And I had no reason not to believe I wasn't going to get it done. And it's not I want to be arrogant, but I stood on that start line and I thought, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get through that pain. I know it's going to throw a lot of crap at me. But I am going to take this race on. I don't care where I turn up in this race as long as I finish it. Doesn't matter where I place. I wasn't aiming to come in fourth, but that's where I ended up finishing. I wasn't the fourth best runner out by any shape. But for me, it was about get the job done. And the Masonade came through for me, and that was the main thing. It was just about.
Didn't realise, Paul, you're such a passionate runner.
Well, I don't know if it is the running bit. So I think for me, the mental game is the fun bit.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I love the mental side. Because I'm not. I say this to everybody, and people look at me, but I'm not naturally a good runner. I have to really work hard for what I think is really average results. I'm not fast, but I like to go long, and I've found something that I can do quite well at, And I shouldn't finish where I finish in these long races because I'm down over a marathon distance. There's people way behind me in a 100-mile that are probably an hour in front of me on a marathon on 250.
Yeah.
There are people that should be beating me and they don't, and I put that down to
that is the mental. That is the mental.
You want it a little bit more than the next person. You're gonna succeed, and I guess I'm teaching myself to want it really badly. And I know we'll talk about 290 in a minute, but again, that's all about mindset. That's all about facing the pain cave. I know it's going to be tough, but bring it on. You know what? And I will deal with it.
And there's obviously a really specific why to that, but just to say, like the why thing, like I've been going on about it to this one for ages.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
what is it? This one? I've got a name.
This one, Simon. And the why thing is so big for me because Paul, even like I look at you and you're saying you're not a runner. It's like, well, you say you're not a very good runner. I'm not a runner at all. Like I'm not. And you look at me, it's like it's basically a potato with some legs. And the why, when I've done ultra things, is what allows me to actually complete stuff that other people who are clearly just more athletic can. But the why is why it really strikes a massive chord with me. Like the why, and you say when your cousin passed away with cancer, the why was the only thing that got me through my first 100. It was my dad had passed away, and I just kept thinking, and I didn't even sing or listen to music the whole way because all I was doing was driven on the emotional energy of I was in the woods and just remembering constantly for probably the last 50 miles how we used to go play in the woods, how we used to go ride in the woods. And I remember those times with my dad and how much pain he would have been in. And I thought, there's no way that this thing that I've chosen to do in his memory, I can't do this and be that man's son if I can't finish this thing that I've signed up to because, what kind of a commitment is that? And that why... that put it off the cards. I wasn't allowed to leave the race. I wasn't allowed to. Someone could have battled me. I would probably, like you, wrestled them if they tried to take my number off me. But, it's so strong, and it's so much stronger because the rest of us, one of the things I like to say, it's quite extreme, but it's like, my body is just some calcium wrapped in some muscles and a few muscles, and some fat and some, like, compounds. It's just a collection of atoms. What makes me do things is upstairs, and you have when we've shared a few miles, Paul, when you've graciously slowed down for me, I get that vibe from you so much. We're very different in the way we approach things, I think, but the mentality, that ultra runner sort of desire is the same, and it's just I just had to say that it's so strong.
No, I see it. No, Rob, I see it in you definitely, and obviously Mr. Staples has got it because he can bomb off and do sub 3 hours and making it look all easy. So it takes a massive mental resilience to do that as well. It's all relative, but. You know what? I talk about the limiter. Now we all have a limiter in our minds, and Rob, you probably thought this when you stood on the start line of the North Downs 100. Clearly a tough race, yeah.
Dirty word as well.
There would have been
I hate it.
There would have been a piece of you going, can I do this? And you'd have gone through that race to your point and then gone, I've got a big why here and it's getting tough, but I'm going to battle through it. But in your mind would have been saying about 40%, I'm done now, I'm done. And actually, you're not done. You know, you'll go past that point where you'll push past it.
See if I can compare, Paul. It's like when you were looking at that hoodie in the cupboard, there were people, and it's just natural human instinct. I can remember raised eyebrows when I was in the hall at the start eating my little porridge, and everyone's looking at me like the dumpy kid in the corner. It was like I was the fat kid in PE again, who no one wants to pick on their team, and they're all looking at me like, really? Why is he here? And I was just like, I'll just go prove you wrong then. Like there wasn't anything against it, and I can remember people on that race. People who are now counted amongst my best friends in ultra running, like as I either caught up with them and chatted or went past them, just being like, geez, respect. You know, Rob, like, didn't expect this, right?
you remind me of something. If I can quickly just share this story. When I was at school, I was quite lucky. I was pretty sporty at school, and I found sport was the one thing I did find relatively easy. Everything else was horrible. But in PE, you know, when you go through and you pick your teams, and everyone used to be dreaded about being last. So I used to get dragged out the front. Right, you know, Mason, come out here. You can be one of the captains. And I always used to pick on what I associated with the kids that would always get picked last for a couple of reasons. Number one is I used to look at their face when I picked them because they weren't getting picked last. You could see their eyes light up, and for me that was everything. But you know what? I used to play five-a-side football on PE. Yeah, I'd have probably the 5 scrawniest or the fattest or the, in inverted commas, the weakest kids. But the passion they had, and because somebody believed in them, I saw the ability for them to step up. Yeah, the potential they had was huge, and it gave me. I used to love it, and I used to watch them excel, and it shocked a lot of what I called in inverted commas the so-called, you know, the school team players who thought they were going to run rings around them. They might be more skillful.
The jocks, the plastics.
Yeah, but
the whole Mean Girls thing on here.
Yeah, the desire was just there. So that just reminded me of a story, Rob. So never underestimate people. You know, was it potato on sticks? You said, but
potato on like legs. Yeah. But yeah, if you can. But guys, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Yeah.
No one's watched
dodgeball. Yeah, dodgeball. No, I was just back to Scott. I mean, I never did pee. I always had a note, so we just kept reusing my note.
I always had a veruca.
Yeah.
I'm not doing swimming.
Rob, I had an ingrown toenail, mate, for about 2 years.
How's that for you? You haven't got any toenails left, have you? Actually, you're not like a badass ultra runner like this one, are you?
No.
By which I mean Paul. Because Paul hasn't got any toenails left, mate.
Well,
no.
So, Paul,
your
big one, we've alluded to it, and there's a big why behind this. Tell us about what Project UCR 290 is.
Yeah, so it's about Thorners. We all knew and loved and still do love Mr. Mark Thornberry. You know, I think Alan Rumbles called him a giant. You know, and he was such a phenomenal.
He's a basketball player type size, wasn't he? Like you.
He was a big guy, yeah. Again, you know, just incredible. But such a humble, and you guys know him. You had him on the show. You chatted to him. Brilliant guy, clever, intelligent, witty, just humbling guy.
Utterly hilarious.
Hilarious, and could talk for England worse than I can probably. But he was just for me, and I know this word gets bandied around, but he was just inspirational. He gave me so much belief. When I was feeling like, oh, I'm not sure, I'd go and talk to Mark, and Mark, in his ultimate words, would just get on and do it, and it's like, okay,
go get it done.
So, you know, I talked to Mark last year and said, look, Mark, I want to give back. I admire what you've done those 3 years. You'd had, you know, liver cancer. He'd gone back and done Grand Union. He'd done such a phenomenal job with his cancer research for obviously the King's College Hospital. And I said, Mark, I'd be really honoured if I could I want to set myself a goal, but I want to attach a big why to it, and you're my why, because I admire you so greatly, and I want to do the Canal Slam, but I want to do it with a twist. And he was like, okay, what do you want to do?
Sorry, Mason, but Canal Slam, for people that don't know.
Yeah, it's a three races. The Grand Union 145 we talked about, which is normally the first race. That was obviously cancelled this year because of COVID. Then you've got the Kennington Avon 145. Then you've got the Leeds Liverpool 130. So usually it's about 400 and something miles. All done in about 100 days normally. But I wanted to spice it up a little bit because I've done the Grand Union anyway, and I thought, has anyone doubled the Grand Union? I kind of did my research and thought, yeah, Mimi Anderson had done it back in the day. She was I think she is the only person and definitely the only woman to achieve the double.
She's quite a good runner, so
Oh,
that's all right.
phenomenal. So she ran from the finish to the start and then spun around and raced it back on the official race. And that was the plan in May, to run to the start and then have a bit of kip and then come back down with the race, because that would put me under huge pressure to stay on within the cut-offs, because I would be at the back and I would be hanging on, literally. And I'm quite lucky. I don't tend to worry too much about the cut-offs generally, but this would have been tight. And I knew that I'd have to get my RC in gear and make sure I didn't get cut out of the race, because I wasn't going to go all the way up to come all the way back to get cut out. So that didn't materialise in May. Then obviously COVID played to the Kennet and Avons. That was 2 races down. Project 565 suddenly got stalled. I rang Mark a few times and said, look, Mark, I'm really sorry. I feel like I've let you down. I'm trying to fundraise for you, but it's just not going anywhere. And he said, look, when your time is right, it'll get done. Then I rang him about 2 or 3 weeks before Sally passed, and I knew he was on his way. And he said to me, I'm not sure how many more of these phone calls I'm going to have with you, Paul. I'm probably not going to get to see you again because of the COVID, but I want you to stay true, and I want you to go and do 565, and I want you to make me proud. And I promised him I'd make him proud, and I'd go and do it.
Oh,
and
wow.
He wouldn't be standing there at the finishing line of any of these races, but his spirit will be there, but he wouldn't be standing there. And I was gutted for that, because it would have made me so proud to be able to shake his hand and go, that's for you, Mark. It's not about me. It's about you and what you've done. And this was a celebration of what you've achieved. And I'm just half the man you are, Mark. But, he won't be there, unfortunately. But you know what? GUCR 290 is about celebrating Mark. We lost Mr. Ward as well recently, which is absolutely devastation. I know the running family was shocked by that loss as well. That was too soon. But I guess in terms of Thorners, for me, it's just about paying back to the guy. And if I can raise a bit of money for his charity and have a bit of fun and celebrate, and hopefully some people will come out on the route, and we will have a bit of fun. Obviously, we'll socially distance, but we'll have a bit of fun, and we'll celebrate Mark's achievement, his life, raise some money, and we'll get the job done. And
when Paul? When?
So, July the 23rd, I start from Little Venice.
21 days.
So, 21 days and counting. I was standing at 4 a.m. at Little Venice with a fantastic crew. I've got the infamous Karen Webber. Yeah, Matt. And I've got the lovely Caroline, the boss, and a good friend, John. So I've got 2 car crews going up and back. And I've managed to rake in a few wingmen and women to see me up and back. And then I hope some people will join us on the way to just celebrate his life. 23rd of July, I'll get up to Birmingham on the 24th of July, have a little bit of sleep, and then spin back round on the Saturday, the 25th of July from Gas Street, Birmingham at 6 a.m, and then head back down to London, aim to get down to London before it gets dark, so I can hit it around about 6 to 8, 10 o'clock.
Whoa.
I'll have done very well. Worst case scenario, I'll still be going on Monday morning, probably back 3 o'clock in the morning.
But, I'll book a day off, Paul, and you tell me where you need me. At least you can book yourself a little hotel.
Yeah, man, I want a bit of this action. I'm looking at my calendar.
I've already said, Paul, like, you tell me where you need me. I don't have a car, and I'll have to find you. But like I did on Fauna's original farm run version, I know I'm slow, but when you need a slow leg and you need a bit of company, socially distance.
Right.
I'll be there. I'll be there.
I need a sexy beast, so you better be ready, boy.
I'm ready. I'll bring all my sexiest outfits. I might even wear a vest if you're lucky. No, vest.
Yeah, but listen, there's plenty of people. I'll be wearing a tracker. Karen and Karen will be doing the social media bit. I won't be hard to spot. I'll be a little bob on a little dot on a map somewhere. But look, come along whenever you can. It'd be great to have you out there. I'll be privileged to have you.
I've just written it.
And we'll sort something out.
I've just written it on my calendar. I've written it on my calendar.
Yeah.
Paul, we're gonna be there doing what you want, but not getting in the way. All right. So.
No. Never going to get in the way. You guys, it'd be awesome if you are around, both you or yourself, Rob. That'd be honoured to have you there. I'd cherish the moments for you guys. And listen, it's not about how fast we run, because I won't be moving very quick, certainly. So
good.
It will be a fun celebration. It'll be a shuffle. It might even be a crawl at some points. It might even be me literally rolling.
That's my favourite.
Yeah,
bit of a pencil roll. Yeah.
I'm under no illusions that 290 miles. I'm not exactly going to be running very fast, but we're going to get it done. And that's the important bit, And it won't always look pretty, but you know what? It will get done. We'll have some fun.
Paul, before you go, mate, let's lighten the mood. So, best 3 events or races you have ever done. Start with what's in third place?
third place. Oh, it's a tough
Or
one.
do you want to go first place and then work the other way?
I can't put them in order because they're all good.
Okay, go on then.
I have to put Comrades in there just because of its heritage. The absolute experience of running the up and the down of Comrades is just unbelievable. If people
And
haven't
Nelson.
done it,
And his slippers.
and Nelson as well. Yeah, that moment. But no, Comrades is up there definitely. I have to say Thames Ring 250, the best 4 days holiday I've ever had, even though it's the most painful. Two. It's so difficult because Grand Union for me is close to my heart. I love the canal, but I guess Thames Ring kind of took half of that one anyway. So, what else I enjoyed? Oh God,
You must have loved Hillingdon Cycle Circuit, mate, back
Oh,
in
it was
January.
that yeah,
Or a bit of the Betshanger Loop where
No,
we
but
were
I was
high-fiving
there.
back in the day.
I was there back in
Yeah.
January. I saw Paul. That was nice.
yeah. I think you lapped me about 8 times, didn't you? If I remember rightly.
No,
But,
not 8 times. I think it's
Was he wearing his
Well-
polka dot sleeves? Because they're my favourite.
who,
I think I
Mason.
was. I was. What's the third one? I don't know. Let me think of one. I'm sure it's got to be one of Rick's runs along the river somewhere, isn't it?
Really?
No, not really.
What about London? I mean, you've done that fair few
No,
times, haven't you?
I tell you, yeah, I have. I tell you the one I liked because I dressed up as Spider-Man, and that's New York. It's my love-hate race because it was one of the few marathons that I did, and I never finished one year because I was injured and I had to pull out and walk back to the hotel from 16 miles. That wasn't good. But yeah, running New York Marathon in a Spider-Man outfit with the American crowds was absolutely mind-blowingly awesome. The Americans just love it. They love Peter Parker, and they just think, he's crazy. So yeah. So yeah, that's New York. Put that one in as well.
Nice. That's a nice little bag, that.
Hmm.
Oh, well, Paul, look, thanks for coming on.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks, mate. Brilliant.
I reckon I'd be up for doing a bit on the Grand Union Canal, to be honest with you, mate. I've got nothing else in the diary at the moment.
Nice and flat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bit of a change of pace.
Yeah, that's 2 weeks before the North Downs 100, so yeah. Nice bit of
There'll be
trotting
no
along.
6 minute, no 6 minute mining though, Mr. Staples. Please.
No,
Can we keep
no.
it to a nice, a nice shuffle, yeah.
Fine by me.
He'll give you
sometime,
five. He'll give you five. He'll give you five.
Yeah.
Just to liven you up a bit after my 15s. Oh, that'll be brilliant. Can't wait for it,
Yeah.
Paul. Want to be
No,
involved. It's going to be an epic
brilliant.
project, and we'll post it up when we post the podcast, mate.
Yeah, please tell people if they can afford to put some money in the pot. That'd be great. My page goes straight into Mark's page as well.
Yep.
So the charity very kindly sorted that out for me. So yeah, any money that goes in, or go onto Mark's page and do something to him. Either or. Let's just raise the money and the awareness for cancer, liver cancer, because it is underfunded and it needs more cash because the prognosis is not good. If you get it, you don't survive. So we need to do something about that. So let's keep raising money.
100%. Totally there with you. And eventually I'll get off my arse and do a project myself and Mr. Faunus.
Good
But
man.
for now, we'll help you with yours, mate. Thanks
Thank you.
very much for coming on.
No, thank you.
All right, cheers, chaps. Night all.
Yeah,
Night
have
all.
a good evening,
And
gents.
we'll
Great
see you soon,
talking.
guys, for the rest
Yeah.
of season 3. Take care, guys.
Cheers.
Keep running.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.